They flew through the letters into a cold, clear winter's day. The city, the darkness, the smoke, replaced by an open country road with fields either side. As they followed the course of the road, the White Lady slowed her pace and began to descend. Scrooge was still jiggling and wriggling like a man possessed, so much so that, whether by accident or design, the White Lady loosed her grip and he fell headlong into a snowdrift. She soared up and away just for a moment and addressed Marley. "Dear one, how did you ever manage to tolerate that man in life?" she said. "He's truly a Tartar with his temper, and as for his manners..." "I was a different man then," said Marley. "Is that so?" she asked. Marley nodded. The White Lady cupped him in a hand tenderly. "Dear, sweet thing," she said. "We must get on. Can't leave him in a field to freeze, unfortunately." They descended upon Scrooge, who was frolicking in the snow like a child and singing a little song. "There was an old man, he had an old cow, and how to keep her he didn't know how. Hey, 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 ho. He built a barn to keep his cow warm. Hey, 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 ho. And a drop of cider will do us no harm. Hey, hey, ho." Evidently, this was some wassail of his childhood, brought on by the recognition of this place. "I know where we are! I know where we are!" Scrooge sing-songed. "Follow me! Follow me!" "His wits have gone," said Marley, as Scrooge pelted towards a distant little market town, knotty as a fruitcake. "Not at all," said the White Lady, as they followed the gambling miser. "This place smells of his childhood. It sounds like it. It tastes like it. It feels like it. Here he is the child that he remembers being. And that may be the cruelest thing done to him this whole night." "What do you mean?" said Marley. Yet the White Lady would not elaborate on this. "Let's follow, watch, and learn," she said, as they floated across a little bridge over a winding river. Scrooge threw frost-emblazoned sticks into the waters and rushed to watch them complete their passage on the other side. Though he didn't stay long at the bridge, oh no. He flowed from gate to post to tree, climbing, jumping and running fit to burst, yet, Marley noted, always in a definite direction. Despite myriad distractions, they were heading towards a large, dull, red-brick mansion that crouched itself at the end of a lane on the outskirts of town. At the gates of this lane was a knot of boys, all ruddy of face with the cold. Scrooge rushed upon them at once and rang out a string of hellos to them. Yet no one acknowledged him. Worse, the arrival of Scrooge seemed to be the spur for the disbanding of the party. With "Merry Christmases" to all, they went their separate ways off down the lanes, leaving Scrooge alone. "Merry Christmas," he muttered, suddenly downcast. "What is merry about it? That's what I'd like to know." He turned to the White Lady. "Why bring me here?" he said. "Why, when everyone's gone?" "Is everyone gone?" she asked. Scrooge looked down at his slippered feet in the snow and then pelted off in the direction of the school, for school the great house was, as fast as he could. It was a meagre place, no doubt once grand, but now falling to disrepair. Few of the panes of glass in the windows of the great house had not some slight crack or scuff, and the front door through which Scrooge now entered had been wanting paint for some many years. The unkempt and worn interior of the entrance hall spoke of austerity and Spartan life being taught as a virtue, not necessity. This was a place of enforced hardship, where the children of wealth were sent to give them a sense of morality and a taste of the real world. Of course, it did neither. Scrooge stood at the very back of the hall before a plain, heavy oak door. The White Lady approached Scrooge and bid him enter. "I dare not," he said. "I know what's in there." Yet the White Lady urged him on. They entered a bare, melancholy room with lines of desks facing a board. In one of these desks, the one closest to the fire, sat a solitary small boy reading intently. Scrooge took the seat in the form next to the boy and wept. Marley watched his old partner cry in the silence of the schoolroom. The only sounds were the sobs of the man and the gentle breathing of the boy. Yet, thought Marley, the child is not sad. He himself is not weeping for his loneliness. Indeed, this position seems to be his normal situation. Suddenly, Scrooge leapt from his chair in a rage. He confronted the boy. "Oh, yes!" he shouted. "Go play with Ali Baba, why don't you? Is this the Christmas that you're spending in Arabia with Ali and his 40 thieves? Thieves of friendship? Thieves of time? Or is this the Christmas where you travel to an island with a shipwrecked Scotsman and his barbarous companion?" "He cannot hear you," said the White Lady gently. "We are but shadows. Those of the past can have no dealings with us." "He wouldn't anyway," retorted Scrooge. "He wouldn't lift his head from his books even if the hordes of hell were to descend upon him. Were he to be addressed by Beelzebub himself, he would no doubt mumble some excuse for reading one more paragraph and then lose himself again. Why do you think none of his companions ever asked him to their homes for Christmas? Others in similar circumstances were invited. Why not he? Because in the end, you might as well have invited the desk or the chair or the board duster back for the conversation you would have got from him. He was lost in his books." "And so he remained," muttered Marley without thinking. "What?" asked Scrooge of the White Lady. "We must not remain," she said with admirable invention. "Let us see another Christmas." She cupped her hand around the light of the candle, and the room grew a little darker and dirtier. The child in the desk grew taller and more into a young man. Cracks appeared in the walls, and dust fell like snow upon the ledges and edges of the room. It was still another Christmas, and the young Scrooge was alone once more, still with a book, but now distractedly pacing and reading about one word in 5. "It's not true that no one could rouse you from a book, is it?" the White Lady asked. "No, not her," said Scrooge, and looked towards the door of the classroom. Marley heard it open and followed Scrooge's gaze. In the frame stood a young girl, younger than the young Scrooge, and as different in complexion from him as sun from moon. Yet it was evident they were cut from the same cloth. The girl did not stand on ceremony in the doorway. She up and ran at Scrooge the elder. He stooped to gather the child up in his arms, but she ran straight through him and to his younger self, who was similarly crouched behind him, and who swept her up and swung her high upon his hip. "Sister!" cried Scrooge. "My sweet Francis!" Behind him, the brother and sister talked and laughed, but Scrooge's moans drowned them out. Even now, thought Marley, his only interest is himself, his own singular pain, his own singular regret. The young Ebenezer left the room with the child Francis's hand in his hand, and they planned games and jests for the festive season. "She died, Spirit," said Scrooge. "Such a delicate thing that a breath of wind might have done for her. And I knew this, and yet I grieved when she died. Too hard, perhaps, some might say, for one only partly my sister." "She died a woman. She lives on in her child," whispered Marley. The White Lady bridled. "Perhaps I'm more like my father than even I knew," said Scrooge. "But you know, I think I should like to have a few words with my nephew just now." "Onward," said the White Lady. The candle that Marley was carrying flared suddenly and blazed brighter than the sun, yet with a softness that meant there was no discomfort to behold it. Indeed, Marley only felt warmth as the light bleached out the boards and cobwebs of the classroom until they were just pen lines in the air. These lines wound and curled around themselves and redrew a different scene. That now they described a busy London street, one of the poorer ends of the town, not so near the city. And as the candle died down, the colours bled back in like watercolour paint flooding a dampened paper, until all at once they were back into what Marley was pleased to call reality once more.